Hi everyone, I'm Hansini Jaipur from 99x Technology. Today we are going to start a new Tech Talk video tutorial series on how to make a Selfie-Stick app using Ionic Framework. Before we proceed with our tutorial series, we are going to make you aware about what are the differences between single-page applications and traditional web page applications. In traditional web page application, when the user wants to navigate to another page, a server request is made and a full HTML page is returned as a server response. Then a full page reload takes place even if a result is a change of a small portion of the page. When it comes to single page applications, as a user you will perform requests to the server like traditional web page applications, but the response is not in a full HTML page. So it will always stay in the same page and load the necessary portions of the page without wasting the time reloading the same content as the traditional web page applications. So let's move on to AngularJS. AngularJS is an open source framework for web application development maintained by Google and community. It addresses many of the challenges encountered in developing single page applications. It extends HTML for dynamic views and also it separates views from logic. So let's see how it works. View controller model. It's actually the MVC model. So this is all happening in the client side. The model is a JavaScript object and it shows the data in the model in a view. The scope variable is like a glue between the view and the controller. The model is assigned to the scope and the data can be accessed using the view to display. Angular also supports two-way data binding. Think as if the name in the table is editable when we change the name in the view and the model link will be automatically updated with the change. So let's see what is Ionic. Ionic is a powerful HTML5 SDK that helps you build native feeling mobile apps using web technologies like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. It supports iOS 7 and above and Android 4.1 and above. Ionic is focused on mainly on look and feel and also UI interaction of your app.
Hello everyone, my name is Lakshay. I will be continuing the next part of this tutorial, which is the hands-on session. Before we start off with Ionic, I will create a simple Hello World application using AngularJS to give you an introduction about Angular. So for that, first I'll navigate to a site called play.ionic.io. In this site, when you write the code, the output will be instantly displayed on the right hand side. It's a similar site like JSFiddle, but this is more optimized for Ionic. So when you first navigate to the site, you can see some default coding here. The CSS file is empty, the JS is this. So according to my need, I will be modifying this code a little bit. First, I'll remove the content inside the body. And also, I'll remove this name inside the ng app. I will be explaining it in a little while. Okay, first let's head to the link, CSS link, which is mentioned here. This is the Ionic CSS. If you don't know about Ionic CSS, you can just go to and search Ionic CSS and go to the first link, CSS components, Ionic Framework. In this, you can see so many styles. Today, I will be using this for my tutorial. The next one is the ionic.bundle.js. I will be explaining this in one of our future tutorials, but I will be removing this because I'm not going to use it today. Okay, to get started, I will have to add the AngularJS library. So for that, I will have to navigate to angularjs.org. In that, you can scroll down, and here is the library. 1.4.8 is the current version of Angular. Okay, we added the Angular library. If I show you what this contains, this is actually the compressed version, which is the minified version. If you remove the .min part, you can see the actual code. It's JavaScript file. Okay, let's get started with the tutorial. In the body tag, you can see an attribute called ngapp. This is actually called a directive in Angular. This is the starting point of an Angular application. By adding this ngapp attribute, we tell Angular that within this part, Angular should be active. The developer has the freedom to define it anywhere they like and define their own portion. So, as an example, we can add it in the HTML tag or else even in a div tag. It's completely up to the developer. So, let's move on to coding. I'll add a simple div tag and I'll add a class from Ionic CSS. Inside that, I'm going to add a label. Inside that, I'm going to add an input box. The type is text. We'll add a placeholder. First name. And we are going to add another directive called ngMod. What ngModel directive does is, it binds the data with the property in the scope. You will understand what this does in a while. I will add another div tag. Inside that, I will write hello and double curly brackets. Inside the double curly brackets, I will write the same name as in the ngModel. This is how we bind data into the view in Angular. This is called an expression in Angular. So what this does is, we can input any, say John, and it will be displayed here. So this is a basic example. So you must be wondering what this class item input does. So we'll head over to Ionic CSS. In forms, you can choose placeholder labels, and you can see this is the code I have used, and it will give a style like this. So for more complex applications, you have to use the MVC architecture with Angular. For those who don't know about MVC, MVC stands for Model View Controller. Model is how the application behaves with the data. View is anything which is visible to the user, and the controller is the code that acts between the model and the view. It's actually like the bridge between the model and the view. Okay, so we'll add the MVC architecture to the Angular. So for that, for this ngapp attribute, I will give a name, play. So once we give a name here, we have to go to the JS file and create an Angular module. Angular module defines an AngularJS application. So to create a module, we invoke the module function in Angular, and we give the exact same name which we give in the ngapp directive, which is play. Inside these square brackets, you can see Ionic. Actually, these are dependencies that we should inject, but in our simple app, we won't be using any dependencies, so I will be removing this Ionic thing, and it will be black. So now we'll move on to the HTML, and in the div, I'm going to add a controller to this view. To add a controller, we have to call the ng controller directive, and we give any name we like. I'll just give hello control. Okay, we have to move back to the JS code, and we have to create the controller. we can create it like this. Oh, even this is correct. So you can choose anything you like. Okay, so I'll use this way. I remove the semicolon, go down, right controller, and we have to give the exact same name we gave in the ng controller attribute. In that way, Angular can look for the controller that we specified. CTRL. And again, like the module, inside square brackets we have to give the dependencies. For this tutorial I will be using a dependency called scope, which is actually written $scope. The scope is like the glue between the view and the model, and the scope holds the data of the model and the view can access them. You will understand it in a little while. Okay, I will write function. Before that I'll show you another thing. We can give a name here and write the function like this as well. Write this, or else I will just simply write the function here itself. So the things we injected, we have to add it to the function as well as parameters. Okay. So in the scope, I will add the model attribute called first name, because it's the name that I have used in the ng model, and I will make it empty by assigning it to an empty string. Okay, let's go. Now we can type again any name and it works. This is using Angular with the MVC architecture, and also Angular supports two-way binding. I will show you that as well. So here we input something here and it will be assigned to this, and like that we can input something here and assigning to the other side as well. This is called two-way binding in Angular. Okay guys, that's it for today. So hope we meet in our next tutorial. Have a nice day.